These are more than the usual winter pressures. Rising COVID cases, staff absences and a backlog of treatments caused by the pandemic are putting increasing strain on the NHS. In Greater Manchester, 17 hospitals like this one in Bolton have postponed non-urgent surgeries, and the North East Ambulance Service has asked people to consider getting a lift or booking a taxi if they can, rather than call an ambulance.
Are you gambling with the NHS, Prime Minister?
Certainly he's moving more towards relaxing restrictions. Before setting off for Parliament, it had already been announced that from Tuesday, anyone testing positive in England without symptoms will no longer have to get a PCR test before coming out of isolation. And there was more, relaxing the rules on travel into England.
So I can announce that in England from 4 a.m. on Friday, we will be scrapping the pre-departure test, which discourages many from travelling for fear of being trapped overseas and incurring significant extra expense. We will also be lifting the requirement to self-isolate on arrival until receipt of a negative PCR, returning instead to the system we had in October last year.
The Labour leader has caught COVID for a second time, so it was his deputy who was there to home in on the shortage of testing kits.
I'm sure the Prime Minister will join me in thanking the Welsh Labour government for sharing 4 million tests with England. Thank goodness they had the foresight to plan ahead and secure enough tests for this period.
Today, the Scottish Government broadly moved to the same position as that in England. From midnight, self-isolation will be cut to 7 days with no need for a PCR test.
My clinical advice until now has been that it was possible that the risks of this in releasing people from self-isolation too early and therefore contributing to a greater increase in transmission outweighed the benefits. That balance of judgment has now changed.
This Professor of Public Health welcomes the decisions on shorter isolation, but she did have this warning.
It's not go back to normal after 7 days and negative tests. Continue to wear your face covering. Be cautious. Don't come into contact with people who are more vulnerable if you can avoid it, unless that's your work and you're adequately protected. People need to remember they may still be carrying the virus, even if they have a shorter isolation.
The rules on isolation are also being eased in Wales and Northern Ireland. The Prime Minister said he believes we can ride this wave of the virus. Whether that's true will be revealed here in the wards of the NHS. Andy Bell, 5 News.